The New York Jets need safety help badly, so let's do a deep dive. Xavier Watts, Andrew Makuba, Kevin Winston Jr, and Jonas Sanker. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? It's Luke here from Play Like a Jet, and we're back in the film room with another All-22 breakdown. And today's going to be something a little bit different. We're evaluating 4 safeties who could be picked at 3 different spots in the draft, and we're going to find the best value for the New York Jets. We're going to start with the earliest pick, number 42, and we're going to highlight Xavier Watts, a safety out of Notre Dame. Now, I think he's more inclined to play the strong safety position, and there is a ton to like about his game. For me, it all starts with his ball skills and his instincts in zone coverage, particularly as the robber. I've circled Watts for you on this first clip. Look how he does an outstanding job in man coverage, but gets his eyes to the backfield and high points the football for the interception. You saw this stuff on film from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish safety time and time again. Always finds the football. He loves this whether in zone or in man, and boy, can he make plays on the football. As I mentioned, it was a theme, this time covering over the slot, something he's going to be asked to do as a strong safety in the NFL. You need to bump down in some of these nickel and dime packages. Look at him just undercut this football and come away with yet another interception against Texas A&M. It was a huge play in the context of the football game. But the ability to slingshot himself here across the receiver, not to take the wide line and go behind him and have to come through his back. He understands where this football is going to be. He's an instinctual player. He undercuts it and comes away with the football for Notre Dame. This stuff is awesome. I just think he's going to get you 3 or 4 interceptions every single year. And one more, this one wasn't an interception, but look at him high point the football once again. You're going to see he's covering man-to-man on the running back. This wheel out of the backfield just goes up and competes for the football. Too many safeties only watch the hands of the receiver or the running back. Look how Watts does an outstanding job covering over the top. He's there, but always gets his eyes back. Look at the head turn. That head is watching Will Howard, where the football's going, and allows him to go up and make a play on the football. On this occasion, it's incomplete, but it's technically a pass breakup for Xavier Watts. This was very easily the best part of his game. But as a safety in today's NFL, you have to be able to play in 2 high looks, that's cover 2, cover 4, and break on the football. I think Xavier has that ability as well. Watts is the right-hand safety here for Notre Dame. Look how he diagnoses what's going on underneath. He breaks on the football and is able to force a PBU. A really nice job with his transition footwork, getting out of his back pedal. Look how he's moving back. He's trying to cover up the deep routes in case you're getting a vertical shot here from the slot. As soon as he breaks it down, he closes and goes through with the long arm. That's some teaching tape from Xavier Watts. But it wasn't the only play. Really liked this one. Left-hand side of the formation, this time for the Fighting Irish. Just does a really nice job diagnosing. Something I saw all over the film. Sees that dig route coming a mile away. There's no vertical threat from the slot on his side of the field. He's able to close, and it's a very simple interception. I like him in man coverage. I like the ball skills, and you can see right here, he's got pretty nice instincts in zone. And if you want to talk about the ability to diagnose, this is my favorite clip on the entire Watts tape. You're going to see this jet motion here from the wide receiver in the championship game. Look how he does an outstanding job just snuffing it out. Like, he sees this coming before he even touches the football. He is screaming downhill. He knows the look. He knows the cues, and is able to react so quickly, so swiftly, and get downhill. That's why I think he's a better fit as a strong safety. Plays what's in front of him extremely well, and his closing speed was impressive. They're the biggest strengths for Xavier Watts for sure. But as I mentioned, while reading and reacting isn't an issue, sometimes the angles and the tackling were. Does a great job reading this swing pass, but just takes a really poor angle to the football. Gets around his block, he slips it, he's one-on-one with the wide receiver, just doesn't make the tackle, and it ends up being a first down. Have to do a better job here, cutting him off, understanding the angle, and using the sideline as our friend. But it wasn't the only one. This is where the high tackle zone really came into play. Again, he's there. He reads this so well. He's in the hole, ready to make a play. But look where Watts wants to instinctually tackle. It is high, and it is very much an arm grab, and people run through his contact quite often. If you're playing the strong safety position, and you're putting your nose in there, and you're in run fits, you cannot be hesitant going into contact, and I thought he went way too high, and that's going to come back to bite him in the NFL. Another example of it, you're going to see very similar stuff. Watts from the free safety position this time. Look how he's just not able to wrap up and get the guy down because he leaves his feet and he aims far too high. Like, this receiver is virtually stopped by the previous contact. Yes, he breaks that tackle, but he's a sitting duck for Watts to come across and lay some wood. Instead, you just see this drive-by contact, high tackle zone, and another miss for Xavier Watts. That's my biggest concern with him. So overall, where am I at? I think Xavier Watts is a great football player. I think he's a second round guy for sure. Do I want him at 42? Maybe not, but if the Jets take him, I wouldn't be disappointed. And this is rapid fire round, so let's get straight into Andrew Makuba, safety out of Texas, different prototype of player. He's going to play free safety. He's only 190 pounds. That's probably dripping wet as well. He is a lighter frame in the NFL, so is he a good fit for the Jets if they want to take a safety this time at 73? So we're talking about in the third round. The strength of his game, very similar to Watts, is instincts and ball hawk ability. On this occasion, he's playing the robber in the hole. Have a look how he's able to read and react here. He's number 4. He wants to get downhill into his run fit. He sees it's play action. Now look at the eyes. Flips his hips, looks for the receivers, understands the coverage, and goes up and high points that football. That is beautiful play from Andrew Mukuba. This is who he is as a prospect. He is fluid in space. He will try and intercept absolutely everything, but the ability to understand, we're going to flip our hips, we're going to try and understand the concept the offense is throwing at us, undercut this dig route. That is beautiful play. What a way to start the little Makuba review. And he can also get downhill in a hurry from this too high, just like we talked about previously. He's on the left-hand side of your screen. Does a great job breaking down this concept from Notre Dame, sees the dig coming from Colston, and he's able to go in there, do the dirty work, and break it up. This is a very clear concept you're going to see in the NFL. We've got to clear out from the slot. You're then going to get this dig in behind it. Makuba's able to get out of his transition and get downhill in a hurry. He can definitely play in those too high looks as well. Now, while I've said that Makuba's best fit is as a free safety, and it is, he can do some of these things down in the box as well. You're going to see him be asked to cover the flat here from the left-hand side of the formation for Texas. Look how he gets to his spot. He understands, though, he's covering grass. He doesn't want to just buzz out and have no receiver in his area, so he starts to push up and gets the deflection for the interception. Now, while he doesn't make the play, he gets so many of these caroms and tipped footballs because he's always on the spot and in the correct position. He just has great instincts, understands, I'm not going to get out to the numbers. He starts to come back towards the receiver, and he's right there, an opportunist at the safety position. Now let's talk a little bit about his tackling, especially from when he's deep, because this is where it got inconsistent. This is a great example of reading, getting downhill in a hurry, really firing out of your stance, and making a big hit in the backfield. I love this example. Read and react, diagnose, all those things we've talked about with safeties over and over again. Gets out of his transition footwork and lays the wood. Really, really nice. But unfortunately, it was really inconsistent. I've circled Makuba for you. Again, coming downhill from the safety position, very easy tackle. We fly by. I want to see him control his feet a little more, but also not just be an arm tackler. And he's a bit of an ankle tackler, a little like Sauce Gardner can be at times. He wants to go low. I know I just talked about what's going too high. You have to find that happy medium. I come from a rugby league background. They are not the areas we want to be tackling. You need to be hitting around between the hips and the knees. And I thought Makuba went a little bit low at times. And also lacks a little bit of physicality. He's light. He's 190 pounds. Absolute max. In the red zone, he has a great opportunity to stuff the running back in the hole right here. He meets him 3 yards out. Another great job reading, run fitting, but just gets pushed straight through. He doesn't have the ability to stonewall him and get him on the ground. He isn't that physical. That could be a bit of a problem in the NFL. So Andrew Makuba, would I take him at 73? 100%. The only issue is you've just brought Cisco over. You have to figure out that balance, but I think he'd be a savvy choice in the third round. Next up, we're going to talk about Kevin Winston Jr. and the New York Jets' 4th round pick. That is pick 110. Okay, so Kevin Winston Jr. was outstanding in 2023. Did his ACL in week 2 for Penn State. He's going to fall down draft boards. But the combination of athleticism and the ability to make tackles is astounding. Okay, I like him best when the play's in front of him. Great example, zone. Winston Jr. is number 21. You're going to see him close on the football here, read the route, and come straight through the football legally on time and gets the PBU. He is awesome when he's able to get downhill and the football is in front of him. I think it's the biggest strength of his game. To really accentuate it, this time in man coverage against a really good football player in Colston Loveland, look at him. He doesn't get fooled by the motion. He has great depth. He reads, reacts, gets downhill in a hurry. He's already halfway to the tight end by the time the football's out, does a great job diagnosing, and he lays the wood. I love his athleticism when he's racing downhill. Now, the weakness for Winston Jr. is that he hasn't had a ton of reps. He was hurt. He's only played 1 season as a true starter, so you get some of these issues in coverage. I say he has a sticky first step. Sometimes when he's reading as a deeper defender, he second guesses. He isn't that quick to fire his shot, and it leads to completions in tight windows. A good example against West Virginia at the start of this season before the injury, from the safety position, he reads it really well, but the tight end still comes down with the football. If he really drives on this and understands that he can get downhill and impact this football, this should be an interception 10 times out of 10. If it's Watts or Makuba, they're taking this football away. He still has some maturity. Now, I don't mind that because I get that he's young and raw from a football perspective because of the injury and because he doesn't have another 14 games of reps like those guys did. But this was probably a theme that I saw on 4 or 5 clips from 2023 that I wish he would improve on. I think we're going to see that eventuate though. And let's talk about his run fits, because this is why I think he could be an awesome, strong safety. He can do some stuff at free as well. He's versatile, but he gets downhill and he hits his tackle every single spot. Look at him meet the running back in the hole, but he's the one that's laying the wood. Hits just underneath the football. He wraps up. I've got a stat for you guys. Last season, 2023, he missed a grand total of 0 tackles. Not one in the entire season. He is so consistent. His run fits were really good. And once again, when the play's in front of him, I think he is awesome athletically. Again, if you want to move him laterally this time, 21, shifting to his left, reads and reacts, doesn't get overly ambitious and over aggressive. I would have hated to see him duck inside the block here. Instead, he understands, he bounces to the outside, maintains that edge discipline, and is able to stop it for a tackle for loss. Really good job wrapping up the football, keeps his legs going. He does all the little things right as a run defender from the safety position. Now, the last flag that I want to talk about, and again, this comes back to being raw, is that some of the angles and overambitious chasing can come back to bite him. This cost him the game here against Michigan State. I've circled him for you. Look how Winston Jr. comes downhill, has an easy tackle, but just gets blown by. This isn't an athleticism issue. He's not too slow. He just takes the wrong angle. He is heading infield. The running back's able to bounce out off his right foot, and he's gone. Can't make those mistakes. They are costly in the NFL. But again, I would attribute that to him being a pretty young player. So, do I want Kevin Winston Jr. at pick 110? Honestly, out of the 3 so far, that fit and value is my favorite. Yes, he's coming off the injury, but they think he'll be ready for camp. He ran at his pro day, and I think there is so much upside. And the last guy we're going to talk about is Virginia safety Jonas Sanker. Again, for pick 110. Now, he is lower on my board. He's probably my least favorite value of any of these four guys, but still has a great skill set, particularly, like I said with Winston Jr., when the ball's in front of him and he's coming downhill. Left-hand side of the formation here for Virginia. Look how Sanker in man coverage is able to close, come through the football. I like how he uses his right arm. He doesn't force contact. He's able to go around the receiver and get the PBU. They're little subtleties in coverage that I like, and that's going to save some flags in the NFL. He's always good at getting downhill and putting his foot in the ground. But he can do it from zone as well. On this occasion, Sanker's number 20, left-hand side of the Virginian formation. Look how quick he is to get downhill and hit the tight end. Now, you want to talk about the fact that he has closing speed. There is a linebacker 6 yards in front of him. He beats him to the football because he is that explosive when he decides to fire and go downhill and get to the football and the ball carrier. Really nice example of it. Sanker can be explosive once he transitions and gets out of his back pedal. Again, this time you're going to see the wide receiver kind of pop open on this mesh concept. The rub route causes some disruption for the corner. He can't get through the traffic. Look how Sanker just pops in and makes it a 1 yard gain. That was a dangerous play. It could have been a touchdown, but his instincts, his closing speed and ability to get downhill saves Virginia. Again, this is easily the biggest strength of his game. But the reason that Sanker dropped down my board is because teams started to pick on his aggressiveness and some of his, what I would just call guessing from the safety position. Here's an example, far right hand side of your screen. Sanker tries to jump on what he thinks is a sit route, ends up being a whip, and we get quite a big gain here for Clemson. I like that he wants to get downhill, but play under control, understand the cues and what you're seeing, and I think he missed a trick more than once or twice. He just gets a little bit over aggressive. And you saw Clemson, which is one of the better ACC teams that Virginia play, really focus on Sanker on these types of looks. This time, from the safety position, look how he tries to get downhill and just gets turned inside out by a double move. I understand he falls over, but it's because he's over aggressive. He thinks this is an underneath route. Everything is get downhill and make the tackle and lay the wood. Sometimes you need to play with more subtlety. This is where someone like Watts would come over the top, would have eyes in the backfield and have much better feel. I thought Sanker really missed some of that ability. But as a run defender, I think he has some really nice skills like Winston Jr. did, and that's why I think he is an option at 110. Look at him fire here on the run blitz and sticks his tackle, nice target zone, hits under the football, wraps up and gets his man down. This area of his game I have no issues with. He's over 200 pounds, pushing 210. He can come and meet you in the hole. And on this occasion, I like that he can work through a little bit of traffic and contact as well. Swipe away the hands of the tackle and go and lay the wood in the backfield. When he is coming downhill, north-south, he's a problem. He's just going to be a guy who gets picked on because of that aggressiveness. But that's a little bit about Jonas Sanker. So there you have it, a little rapid breakdown on the safety position and some of their value for the Jets. Xavier Watts, Andrew Makuba, Kevin Winston Jr., and Jonas Sanker. If you made me pick a favorite, I think it might be Kevin Winston at pick 110, but they're all nice value for the New York Jets.